Hi everybody. So I'm sure you all have finished your coloring your phonotrope and it's now time to test if it works. Okay. I hope you all have erased the lines. You don't need these lines, and I hope you all have erased the numbers and you can just see your animation here. Right? So it is very clear that this is what you have to see. Right? So now that you have that, let's create the setup for our camera. So we're going to set up the camera stand. Now you may have a lot of books lying at home. So we have some books. Let me show you what we have. We have these fat, bulky books, and I'm sure all of you have these kind of bulky books lying around at home. So you can use these books to create a camera stand. If you don't have enough books, you could even use shoe boxes or any kind of boxes to create a camera stand. So once you have all of this together, look for spatulas like this in the house. I'm sure you have some in the kitchen. So check. So there are 3 types that I have. You can use any one, but ensure that this is not too thick. So try and use a flat one, the flattest one that you see around, and take a flat spoon like that. And what you're going to do is, you're going to stick this to the books. I'm going to stick it here, and I'm just going to show you how that's to be done. Now we're creating this camera stand to shoot the phonotrope that we have created. So you take a sellotape and cut it out. So you stick the spoon. Ensure you have more of it towards the outside, because we don't want the shadows of the books to fall on our work. So we need to be very careful that the shadows don't fall. Now this is still, falling down, but that's okay. We'll need 2 of these, or probably 3 sellotapes to fix it up and hold it there. So you will need 1, 2, and yeah, so now it's steadier, but still not steady enough. So we have these extra books that we place here. Now it will move and it's steady, right? You may want to put a few more pieces of sellotape to ensure it's holding on strong and it doesn't fall in the middle of your shoot. So you have to ensure it doesn't topple, the entire thing shouldn't fall. So, and it has to, this camera, your spatula will be holding your camera, your phone camera. Now here I have a phone camera, okay. So I'm going to turn it on, and I have my app installed in this. So we have Stop Motion Studio installed in the phone, and I'm going to place this here. And I'm just going to ensure it doesn't fall. So there, we need to balance it out a little bit to ensure it's steady, okay. And you can use a double-sided tape to fix it in place. So your double-sided tape will hold your phone in place. That's where it's going to go. So now it is steady. You may want to add a few books. You could do that, and your setup is ready. Now you're going to keep your phonotrope below this, and you're going to shoot frame by frame. So we have everything ready. If you can see, I have even adjusted the height of my camera stand so that I can see my phonotrope entirely in the camera over here. It has to be, you should be able to see almost all of the phonotrope Okay. Also, another thing that you have to keep in mind is that no shadow is falling on your image. If there is a shadow falling on the image, switch off a few lights and adjust the lighting of your house so that the shadow of the phone doesn't fall on your artwork. So you'll have to just keep that in mind. Turn some lights off, make some adjustments. If you have a lamp at home, place the lamp here and let the light fall on your phonotrope so that it kind of blocks out all the shadows and only the light falls on your artwork, because it has to be well lit. So if you have that at home, that's an additional advantage. But you have to ensure that the shadow of your phonotrope should not fall on, or the phone, the shadow of the phone should not fall on the phonotrope. A lot of times when you're taking pictures, if you put your hand in some odd places, it may come in the camera and may come while you're shooting. So you have to ensure that you keep your hands away while you're taking pictures. No shadow of any kind, even your own hand, the shadow of your own hand should not fall on your artwork. So these are things you have to be very careful when you're shooting. Now I do not want my phonotrope to move from the center. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fix it up. So I want it to rotate, but while rotating I don't want it to move all over the place. I want it to stay fixed while it moves. So it has to move from this center point, and it has to move very carefully because it's going to rotate, right? So I'm going to fix up the center of my phonotrope so that I don't have any problems. So I'm going to take a small piece of a sellotape and I'm going to fold it up, make it double-sided so that it fixes. I'm going to fold it like this into small thing, and I'm going to fix it on the center. So I can hold this up here and I can get it exactly at the center point, and I can place so now my phonotrope is not going to move unless I move it. So it's going to work only if I do it. So I'm going to turn it now to frame number 1. Okay. Now because I have a marking here, I know this is frame number 1, but you may not have the marking. So what you can do is exactly over this drawing you can make a marking on the table, and you know that you're frame number 1 and this is where you have to stop every time, right? So I made a marking on the table so I know exactly where I have to. So now I'm going to start taking pictures. So I'm just going to take 2 pictures for every frame I shoot. You could even take 3 to be on the safer side, right? Now I start taking pictures. So I take 1, 2, 3 because I want to be on the safe side. Then I rotate it again. I hold my finger on the center because I don't want it to move, and you see my drawing and this line is aligned, right? And I hold it there and I go 1, 2, 3. Notice how I step back because I don't want my shadow to fall on my artwork, and I keep my hand behind. So nothing comes in the way of in my frame. Everything is clear. Then I hold the center again and I move it and I go exactly over frame 3. I won't have this frame 3 written here, but I'll have my drawing, so I'll know exactly where I have to place it, right? Because I've erased this and I've erased all my lines, so you know exactly where to place it. So your drawing is here and your line is here, and you go 1, 2, 3, right? Then you turn it around and you have 4. Frame number 4, and you have my line, the drawing. You won't have this number, but you have to position it exactly where the line is at the center, and you go 1, 2, 3. Again you hold it and you turn it around and keep it in the right position and go 1, 2, 3, right, and turn it around here and go 1, 2, 3, and you turn it around here and you go 1, 2, 3, and you turn it around again and you go 1, 2, 3, and you turn it around. So we have reached frame number 9, which is the opposite of frame number 1, and you go 1, 2, 3, and again you turn it around and you go 1, 2, 3, turn 1, 2, 3. Let's say you make a mistake and you're worried, oh, I've made a mistake. Don't worry, just go on to the same frame. If you made a mistake in the same frame, if your hand is in the middle, just shoot all over. We can delete the wrong frame. So don't worry about anything. Nothing will go wrong. Just be comfortable, have fun. That's important, right? And you go 1, 2, 3. So wrong frames can be easily deleted. So you don't have to worry if you made a mistake, if your phonotrope has moved. Fix it back in place again, ensure it's exactly in the same spot again, and go 1, 2, 3. And we've already reached frame number 14 and it's less than 5 minutes. So it's that quick to shoot your frame. And go 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. And this is the last frame. So we got 1, 2, 3. So this is just not enough. There's more we can do, a lot more. So if you adjust the settings on your camera, you can even zoom in to your phonotrope and take another angle. So you can even do that, and you can move it and position it where it fits here. Great, you can just take that, see the angle. So it fits, it's in frame, there are no shadows, and it looks beautiful. It's composed well, so you can even do this. So this is a composition that also you can take. Again, you mark with your pencil where your frame number 1 is. And you shoot this composition as well. So again, you have made your marking, ensure it's nice. It's not coming in frame, so you can make it dark, you can make it with a sketch pen, but it's better to use a pencil so you can erase it later and mom won't scold you for dirtying the table, for spoiling the table. Yeah, so that's frame number 1. I go 1, 2, 3. And then I turn it around again, move back and go 1, 2, 3. And it takes less than 5 minutes, so do both the compositions, it'll look better. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to check how it looks. So my animation may have numbers, but the ones you have will not have the numbers written because you are going to erase it. I have done it in sketch pens, and you will not have these lines in your animation. So now we're doing frame number 5. Ensure not to miss out on any frame. 1, 2, 3. All the frames you have to shoot. One, two, three. One, two, three. And the last frame. Yes, we're almost done. 3. Now do you all want to see how it looks? You can see the jack is coming out of the box and it's looking pretty cool. And you can see how he is jumping out of the box. And you can see how the spiral is working. So as you have already seen the demonstration of how you can do frame by frame animation, I hope you all make your animations. I hope you enjoy creating the animations. So happy animating. Hi.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, lovely. That's really nice. Can I see it again? Oh, wow. That's cool. So today you will test it out.
Yeah.
Test out your animation. Great. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that the Jack in the Box is something that I demonstrated. This is nice that you've done this one, but you should do one with your own idea. So create something of your own. Okay. So I'd like to see that as well. So this is very nice. So test it out today with your stop motion studio. And excellent, excellent. Anybody else?
Yes, we have Pratham who has already shot it. So I think we're very excited to see what Pratham is ready with. Pratham, I would request you to turn your video and audio on, please. Yes. Hi, Pratham.
Hi, Pratham. Let us see what you've done. I can't see it. Oh, you've done a stop motion. Is that a stop motion?
Yeah, I think it's a stop motion. Prana,
It's a stop motion. That's excellent.
yeah. Pratham, do you have your phonotrope with you?
I had created my photograph, but I can get it. The problem is I didn't stop motion like click it.
No
You
problem.
didn't take
Just show
pictures.
your
That's
phonotrope. Anyone else? Yeah, I see a few other names in the. Okay, yes, Pratham is back.
Oh, wow. Oh, everyone's doing Jack in the Box. Okay, that's cool.
Anyone who has made something
do
different?
something different. So try something different. Could be the eye opening, closing. Could be the mouth opening, closing. Could be somebody just clapping hands. Could be a glass of water filling up and then going empty again. So there are so many ideas. You can come up with your own ideas.
I think Chandana has something different, so I would request Miss Chandana to please come on cam.
Ah, wow, that's a flower, is it? Oh, wow. Oh, lovely. Very nice. This is going to look really nice. I can't hear you. Wow, it's very cool. It's a flower, right? Yeah, it's a flower. Very nice. Excellent, Chandana. That's fantastic.
Thank you, Chandana. And I think Manit would like to go. Manit, I would request you to turn your cam on, please. Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow, that's lovely. Excellent. Okay, so now that Manit has made the glass that is filling up and going empty, I want the others not, everybody should not do the same thing. You should come up with There are so many things. Keep looking around. Think of what you can do different. So excellent. Uh, Very nice. Excellent, Manat. Very nice work.
Yes, I think after everyone also shoots their videos, don't forget to email it to us at cinevidya @gmail.com, and we will definitely share it with Tehzeeb ma'am. So I think now is a good time for a Q&A session, Tehzeeb ma'am.
Yeah, before the Q&A session, there are certain things that I want to actually tell the kids. So one is that, this chronotrope exercise that I did recently, I did it with another batch of kids. And the kids came up with better ways of shooting it, which is what I want to share with you. So the way I shot it was I stuck the center with a sellotape, right? So what the other kids, I mean, kids are really innovative, and like I said yesterday, I learned so much from them. So one of the kids, what he did was took a thermocol sheet which he had at home, and he stuck that on the table, and then he put a pin in the center so that the phonotrope doesn't move when he's shooting. So that was one idea. Another kid took, cardboard. We all get these cartons at home, corrugated sheets of paper. The cartons which we get at home. We buy things and they come in cartons. So he took one side, cut out one side of the carton, and he put a pin in this, he stuck that on the table and then put a pin in the center so that the phonotrope doesn't move while he's shooting it. So there are different ways to do it. So you don't have to follow what I have demonstrated in the tutorial. Maybe you can come up with a smarter way of doing it. And then I will learn from you. So if you come up with a smarter way, go ahead and do it, try it. The main thing is the phonotrope should not move from its place. It should remain the center. It should move only from the center. So these are little things. Also, this morning you all saw Arvind sir's session of stop motion, where he moved that dragon frame by frame. So if you all are doing cutout animation, there is one very interesting feature in Stop Motion Studio, which I want to share with you guys. It's called an onion skin feature. So let me just show you so let's say we open up the camera and it looks like this, right? You see this bar over here, this bar, it goes up and down. Okay, this thing is the onion skin. Now, what exactly is onion skin? Let me just tell you what onion skin is. Onion skin is where, so you may not need it for your phonotrope exercise, but you'll definitely need it when you're doing a cutout animation or a clay animation, or you're doing, Lego animation, or the one, I think Manit just showed us some stop motion that he did, right? So if any kind of other stop motion film that you're shooting, you want to know where your previous frame was when you're moving the object or the cutout. You want to know where your previous frame was, and you want to put the object in the current frame based on, you want to move it very little, so you should know where your previous frame was. Also, a lot of times you move it and you forget where your previous drawing was, or where your previous frame was, where it was placed in the previous frame. So this onion skin feature will show you exactly where it was in the previous frame, and then accordingly you move your cutout or your clay or if you're doing Lego animation, your Lego piece of Lego. So this onion skin is a very interesting feature that is there now with a lot of stop motion apps and softwares. So use that feature when you're doing your stop motion, so you know exactly how much you want to move your object or your cutout in the current frame based on the previous frame, right? So if you want to, let's say you move it too much, then you can always adjust it. So you have to move it very little each time. When you move your object very, very little each time, the animation looks smoother. If you move it too much, then the animation will look jerky and it will go very fast. We don't want that. We want the animation to look smooth, right? So use that feature. It's a very interesting feature that you could use. Anybody has any more questions?
Tehzeeb ma'am, good afternoon. Thank you so much. How are you?
Good.
Okay, ma'am, we have a question coming from Harshal Bharadwaj from Aurangabad. we will try to bring Harshal online here. Harshal, are you ready with the, yes, okay. Yes, please unmute and go.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. My name is Harshal Bharadwaj. Ma'am, I had a question that you have shown us that phonotrope. So it is compulsory that we have to use only 3 frames, or we can use the frames at our choice?
So the reason I say 3 frames, I mean, you could even take two frames for 2 clicks per frame. So 2 images per frame, per drawing that you have. The reason I say that is because if you shoot on once, that is, you click only one time, and let's say you have your hand has gone in the middle, or there's some shadow, then you can only delete the wrong frame, right?
And because
And make a copy.
yesterday I was I was trying an animation with my small sister.
Hmm.
So but I didn't know it was 20 frames. So it got over in 2 seconds only. That's why I
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah. So what happens is with children, usually when I work with children, I get them to do animation on threes. That means every drawing or every frame is held for 3 frames. So so totally they make 8 frames per second instead of 24 frames. So 8 threes are 24, right? In the end, you will get 24 frames per second. But you're holding each drawing for either 2 frames or 3 frames. So the animation just looks smoother and nicer because children sometimes they put too much spacing between your drawings, right? Sometimes you space the drawings very far. So when you hold each drawing for 2 or 3 frames, the animation automatically looks smoother and nicer. But if you do animation once, then the animation will go very fast because you have spaced the drawings very far. Now, what I mean by spacing is, let's say I have this pen here, okay, and I want to move it from one edge of the screen to the other edge of the screen, right? If I want to move it from here to here, okay. Now, spacing means I will put 1 frame here, okay. The next frame, if I put it this far, and the third frame I put it this far, and the fourth frame. So it has moved from point A to point B in just 4 frames. That means the animation has moved very fast. Okay. Now let's say I move from this pen from point A to point B. Instead of 4 frames, I put 8 frames. The animation automatically going to go slower. If I put 12 frames from point A to point B, it's going to go even slower, right? So it depends on how many images or how many drawings you put from point A to point B. Okay, so if you put more number of drawings, it's going to go slower and the animation is going to look a lot smoother. If you put fewer drawings, then the animation is going to go fast and sometimes it looks jerky. So if let's say you have put fewer drawings, then the best way to fix that is every drawing that you have, hold it for 2 frames or hold it for 3 frames till you get the right speed. That means you're not doing 24 frames a second. You're doing, if you're holding each drawing for 3 frames, you're doing 8 frames a second. If you're holding every drawing for 2 frames, then you're doing 24 divided by 2 is 12 frames a second, right? Let's say you hold every drawing for 4 frames. How many frames per second are you making? 6 frames. So 24 divided by 4, you get 6. So it's plain mathematics. So let's say your animation is going too fast. The best way to fix it is every image that you've captured, hold that image for 2 frames or hold it for 3 frames and see how it works. So the animation that you made yesterday, if it's going too fast, that's an easy way to slow it down. Okay? I hope I answered your question. I hope it's clear. Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else has a question?
We have a question that asks, what are the skills or like the aspects that you think are very important to be an animator?
Okay. So for animation, it's very important. So if there are people who say, "Oh, I'm not very good in drawing. Can I be a good animator?" Yes, you can. I mean, you may have another skill which you can apply and still do animation. Like I think you could probably do sculpting and make a clay animation, or you can do animation with sand. You can do animation with Lego. You don't necessarily need to know drawing. I think animation is more about the art of movement. So a lot of people have made abstract things. So they just make movement with geometric shapes. And it looks very interesting. It's about how you're creating movement. It is an art of movement. And to understand movement and to understand how movement works, it is very important to understand the 12 principles of animation. So there are 12 principles of animation, and if you apply those principles to anything, you could be doing, you could be animating uh, a character on the computer, like a 3D character, or you could be doing a clay character. You may be doing stop motion. You may be doing animation in sand. So to understand how movement works, the 12 principles of animation, if you apply a few principles, your animation is going to look nice and appealing. So what I'd like all of you to do is, I'd like you to experiment, do a lot of experiments with different mediums. You may even use sand, Lego, clay, cut out like Arvind searched for. I mean, that's a very interesting technique, and you don't need to be very good in, once you have the character, you don't have to draw it over and over again. You can just move the hands and legs and create an interesting animation. So if you know the principles of animation, you can get that character to move in a very convincing way. So understanding the 12 principles is important. So what you can do is Google the 12 principles of animation by Alan Becker. So these are things you can do. See, nowadays, knowledge is available at our fingertips. If you Google, everything is available on the net. You can even learn animation on your own. At least till you're, go to college, you should do enough research, have enough information. So okay, this is the right career for me, and then go to a nice university, like NID is there, Srishti is there. There are a lot of very good institutes abroad, and many in India as well, and then learn it in a formal, structured way. But till then, there's a lot of information available on the net. So look up, read up, watch these interesting tutorials. So the 12 principles of animation by Alan Becker is very, very interesting, very easy to understand, the 12 principles of animation. Of course, we had to read thick books to understand the principles, but now it's all there on the net. So look it up, watch these videos, and it's very easy to understand if you read up and do a bit of research. It's all information is all there on the net.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insight. Anyone with more questions, please type it in the chat box. We had a question that asked, what are the various kinds of software that are used in the industry?
Okay. The first software, the most important, is your brain, your gray cells. Okay. So use that creatively. Okay. Softwares, I don't think at this stage you guys should focus so much on softwares. Take the most easiest, the ones which are available freely, which you don't have to pay for, because right now you all are in the stage of experimenting. So your stop motion studio, I think, works very well for any kind of stop motion animation, and even for hand drawn. So the one I have shown you is a hand drawn animation, where you have you're doing animation on a phonotrope. You could do animation. Now you'll have notebooks, right? Flipbooks are not available in the market. Otherwise, I would ask you all to go and get flipbooks. But there are notebooks available. So you can do frame by frame hand-drawn animation in your notebooks, which you'll have. Okay? And experiment in these notebooks, and then you can shoot the notebook under the camera. So the same way you shoot a phonotrope, you stick your notebook on the table and shoot it frame by frame. So I don't think software should interest you at this stage, because I think doing with your hand, you will learn a lot more. The software is like a tool. It's as good as your pencil and your paper, right? So work with your hands first. Even when you're doing clay animation, use your hands to sculpt the character, to make the character. softwares are very easy to learn it in the end. When you master the art form.
Yes, ma'am.
Is
I
my
think,
suggestion.
yeah,
That's
and
my
that's a,
suggestion.
I think that's a fantastic and one of the most precious suggestions that we have from a master herself. My advice to a lot of participants is that software will keep evolving. It will keep
Yes.
changing. 3 months
Yes,
down the
that's
line, there'll be
another
another software. 6 months down the line, there'll be another. 1 year down the line, there'll be something else altogether.
Yeah.
What is
very
very
true.
important for us is to have a very firm grip on the fundamentals and the basics. Because if we have a deep understanding, a thorough understanding of the fundamentals and the basics, we will find it much easier to transform ourselves as the software and the hardware and the equipment and the machinery changes, because that is bound to change.
Very true.
Whereas the principles of hand-drawn animation or the principles of frame-by-frame animation have been the same for last 100 years plus. That has not changed, you know, and that is, to my foresight, that is not going to change for another 100 years.
No, it's not.
So much rather right now try to understand and get a very confident and in-depth understanding of the basic principles. Hardware, software, technology, it will keep evolving, and we are somehow bound to evolve with that. I think there is no escape from evolving with the technology.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, or back to you, ma'am. We have Nail. Nail is asking, let's have Nail online, please. Nail, are you ready with your question? He has some questions about 2D and 3D. Please unmute yourself and come online. Nail, we can hear you. Please unmute yourself.
So can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes, please.
Okay, sir. So I had a question that is 3D and 2D animation, does that have more scope in the future, or does the hand-drawn clay, Lego, or stop motion has?
See, I don't know. Every project that comes your way has a different requirement. So let's say you train yourself in 2D animation, or you train yourself in stop motion. I don't know who said this earlier, but collaboration is the key. So let's say you don't have a skill. You can collaborate with people who have the skill. So don't worry about that. If a project comes your way, and let's say you are someone who feels that, okay, I know cutout, but I don't know 3D. So then there are people available, and collaborate and work together, because sometimes your creativity and somebody else's creativity, it kind of, you can complement each other and make something which is, much better when you work together. So I think everything, it all depends on the project. I can't say which has more scope and which has less scope. So like they're saying that, hand-drawn animation, at one point everybody thought it's a dying, nobody's doing hand-drawn anymore. There's nothing like that. There are a lot of people who are still going back to the hand-drawn technique, and there are still films being made in that technique, because that has a different appeal. Your cutout and your stop motion has a different appeal, and the 3D also is, if done aesthetically, looks really beautiful. So I think people are trying to do things in different styles, and do things differently. You don't have to do what everybody's doing, So I think if you create a niche for yourself, that also works, right? Because then you are the only one doing something very unique and different. So that is important. So even if you're doing cutout, you have to try to create a niche in that. Or if you're doing, do it differently from what you've seen around. So create that little bit of a niche for yourself and do things differently from what you see, because everybody's trying to break that pattern that is happening, that is going on out there, and everybody wants to see something different and unique.
Okay, super, ma'am. That's awesome. We have Madhav here. Madhav has to show us his phonotop. He has some queries, I guess. Madhav, can you please come online?
Yes, sir. Can you see me?
We can see you. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So, ma'am, when you had told us to actually draw the 7th and the 11th and the 13th and the 5th, the 15th and the 3rd the same, I didn't so I wrote it down in my note, but at the end when I was actually making it, I did a small mistake. And when I was coloring it, I figured out my mistake. And so what I did was, ma'am, I didn't do anything same. I actually made it into a cycle. Like it starts with a bud and then it moves into a small a flower, and then it blooms and then it dies, and then it grows again, makes a bud. So
Fantastic. That's
actually a
that's
cycle. It's
perfect.
not short. Is that all right?
Yeah, yeah. So, see, the reason I didn't explain this yesterday because it gets a little complex for some people to understand. So, from 1 to 9, let's say it blooms into a flower, but it has to go back to 1. So, it doesn't need to go back the same way it kind of bloomed. It can die and then become a bud again. So, I'm glad you did something out of your own, you used your mind and your imagination to kind of get the cycle to work. So it's absolutely okay. It'll work
Okay.
well. There's nothing wrong in it. You don't have to follow. It doesn't have to go back exactly the way it formed. As long as it goes back to becoming a seed again or a bud again, I think it's fine.
Okay.
You can
So
go back a different way. Okay.
super, ma'am. We have another query coming from Manis. Manis, if you could just please come online and unmute yourself. You could unmute yourself, please.
Sir, in the stop motion studio, how to make the video even more faster, ma'am? Like
To make it faster. Okay. So if you want your video to
He
go
has something
faster,
to show.
okay. Play.
can you see it?
I can see a little bit. Actually, you made your. Is it a dot? What is it? It's a dot becoming a big dot. Is it? What is it?
That the water going down, that one.
Acha, the glass. Actually, you made glass. Oh yeah. Okay. Play it again. Play it again. You wanted to go faster.
Yeah,
So how many pictures did you click per frame?
it is 47. That is three.
3 pictures. Okay. So what you could do is then probably you can play it at yeah. So what you can do is adjust the frame rate. I don't know actually how this will work on your stop motion studio. Let me see. Hold on, let me check. If I wanted to go faster, I don't know if there's a setting to adjust the frame rate. Hold on. No, there isn't any setting. I don't know how you do. Maybe you can send it to Cinevidya and they can speed it up over here. Can you all do that, Amitabh?
Yes, ma'am, for sure. I think if he can just mail us his query and his clip, we will be able to definitely help him technically, because that is something.
Yeah. Because the setting over here is not there. I don't know. I mean, in stop motion, whether you can.
Sure. We will look
speed
into
it
the
up.
technicalities, ma'am. Definitely.
Or what you can do, another thing that you can do is there is a way to delete. So if you've taken 3 pictures per thing, you can go here. The image, let's say you've taken 3 pictures, you want to make it 2 pictures, and manually you go here, you click on the image and it gives you this, opens up this. So you delete, there's an option to delete, you delete the 3rd frame. So you go manually and you delete the 3rd frame. So that is one way to do it.
Okay, super. So we will.
If you want to do, maybe you can do that. So if you taken 3 pictures and it's going, it's going too fast. Why would it go too fast if you've taken 3? It should go slow, no? If you've taken 3 pictures per frame, it should go slow.
No, ma'am, it is going slow, not fast.
It's going slow. You want it to go faster, right?
Yeah.
So then what you do is manually go, and every frame, you've taken 3 pictures per frame, the 3rd picture you delete it. Manually you go and do it.
Okay, super.
Can you do
super.
that? Maybe you can do that. Try that. So you click on the frame and then the option will pop up. So then every third frame you delete. Then it will be playing on 2s. Is that okay? Did
Yes,
you get
yes.
the
I
yeah?
think, well, let's get on with the next question. Manish, we will definitely look into your query. It should be very simple to handle.
It should be right. And if you can't do it, just send it and
WhatsApp us the clip.
and they'll speed it up for you. Okay, technically.
Okay. Next question, please, Aditi.
There is one question that is quite popular amongst people on the chat, and that is, how do I convince my parents that I would like to get into animation?
Okay. I guess animation is, there are people who are doing extremely well in the field of animation. And if you talk about those people who are doing well, who are able to create a good career and a good life in the field of animation. If you share those examples, like today you have met Arvind Sir, and Arvind Sir is a very, very talented, and he's done films like Tare Zameen Par and a lot of other very prominent work that he has done, and he's created a good career for himself. And then you met Munjal's Upasna is doing extremely well. So you have met these people online today and yesterday. So I think if you can share, and there are, of course, I mean, we'll be meeting, E. Suresh sir in a bit. So he's also a very renowned animator in our country and very well respected. So there are a lot of people who have done well. Just like doctors and engineers, I mean, yes, there are many who have done well. Similarly, in the field of animation, there are many people who are doing extremely well and continue to do well. And with the OTT platforms coming in, there's a lot more scope in the field of animation, and I think that should be able to convince your parents. One small request: if you could play You Spin Me Round again, because there are very good examples in that. And children will get some ideas of what they can do other than the regular stuff that they've been making with their phonotone. There's a lot more possibility. So if you can play that one film before we wind up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, definitely. So some last tips and words of wisdom, Tehzeeb ma'am, for all our participants, all our young people here.
Okay, experiment with all different techniques of animation now that you all are young. Try everything out. So, I mean, these 2 days, I think you all have got insight in different techniques and different styles. So just have fun and experiment. You all can do everything now.
And I mean, with such a gracious person as Tehzeeb ma'am, I mean, you and her Endeavor Toon Club, if you have any queries, you please feel free to drop her a mail. Please feel free to reach out to her, and she and her team will be more than happy, you know, to take time aside and whenever possible, get back to you with clarifications and their tips and tricks. Thank you, Tehzeeb ma'am.
So most welcome. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. We are so
Bye.
grateful to you for joining
Bye.
us for these 2 days.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.